Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Amy attacks with a Grizzly Bears, and Nick blocks with Phyrexian Vindicator. Amy then plays a Fog. Does Nick get to deal 2 damage to something with Phyrexian Vindicator's ability? Okay, so in this combat damage step, we're going to have 2 different types of combat damage being assigned. We've got 2 damage from the Grizzly Bears going to the Phyrexian Vindicator, and we've got 5 damage from the Phyrexian Vindicator going onto the Grizzly Bears. Now, of course, that 5 damage is going to get prevented by the Fog. The Fog will also apply to the damage that's being dealt to the Phyrexian Vindicator too. However, there's also another prevention effect, the one from the Phyrexian Vindicator's own ability, that would apply to this damage equally well. Now, you might already know, if you've been following the channel for a while, that if there's 2 replacement effects that both want to affect the same object at the same time, then the affected object's controller is going to be the one who gets to decide which one is going to apply first. Well, guess what? The exact same rule applies to prevention effects too. And so what that means is that because there are 2 different prevention effects that want to apply to the damage that's being dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, Nick, because he's Phyrexian Vindicator's controller, is the one who gets to decide which order they apply in. Nick will probably want to apply the Phyrexian Vindicator's own prevention effect first. That way, the game will consider it to have prevented that damage, and it will give him a trigger to deal 2 damage to any other target, probably exactly what he's hoping for. Note that even though this damage happens during the combat phase, the game does not consider it to be combat damage. That's because that term only specifically refers to damage that would be dealt during the combat damage step as part of the normal combat activities that happen during the combat phase. Accordingly, the Fog is not going to prevent the 2 damage that the Phyrexian Vindicator will get to deal. Another kind of interesting thing to note is that the Phyrexian Vindicator, if you read its ability carefully, is actually the thing that gets to deal that damage. Which means that, for example, if you were to give Phyrexian Vindicator lifelink, you would gain life off of this damage. And if you were to give it infect, then it would be dealing damage to players and creatures in the form of poison counters and -1/-1 counters respectively. Unfortunately, the toxic ability is worded such that it only keys off of combat damage, which means that if you were to give the Phyrexian Vindicator toxic, then it would not be able to give any poison counters to another player if you had a situation like this come up. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.